It's fall, y'all, okay? Don't fight me on this. So, as you can probably tell, I'm in full fall mode, okay? The Halloween stuff is coming out in the stores. School's started. My school has started. You know, there's caramel apple flavored things. These slap, by the way. We've got the autumn vibes video in the background. It's fall. And today we have a super exciting video that I do once, maybe twice a year, and that is a TBR video. If you know me, you know I don't subscribe to the idea that you have to have a set TBR for every month, because I never, ever, 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 ever follow a TBR. So this is more of like a fall hopefuls video. Like, I hope to read these in fall time. I cannot guarantee any of that. Fall for me in Alaska realistically is roughly early August to early November. Early November is a little rough because kind of in my brain, the minute Halloween is over, it's Christmas. But a lot of people will argue that November is still a fall time. But as of right now, it's fall in my brain and in my state. So, fall TBR. This is not a guaranteed. A lot of these these were on my fall TBR last year. I didn't make a video, but I had a fall TBR last year. They didn't make the cut. Some of these are new. Some of these are like just the first book in a series. Maybe I'll just read the series. I don't know. But we're gonna go through and see what my fall hopefuls are, and I guess we'll see if I end up reading them by the end of the fall season. There are a couple books I didn't include in this TBR video because they're books I hopefully plan on reading for a couple specialty videos. Anyways, let's get into the fall TBR if I can stop my freaking yapping. So first book we have is called Death by Pumpkin Spice. This is one of those like mass-produced, mass-marketed books. It's about a bookstore cafe owner, and it's set in Halloween time, and she has a run-in with like an old like hookup, an old flame, and she has got enough going on with like run-in and a failed marriage proposal and all of these things, and then a woman is found strangled to death in a room with like ominous like jack-o'-lanterns, and she's like, whoa, what the fuck? It says on the back that all of the signs point to like a crime of passion, but then the hostess's jewelry is like disappearing and there might be more malevolent intentions, and it basically follows Chrissy helping a police officer kind of investigate what's going on. And this is all set in a mansion. The bookstore cafe owner is just her job. So I hope we get to see some scenes of her in the bookstore cafe. I'm a sucker for anything bookstore cafe because I would like to own my own bookstore and cafe one day. And so I don't know. I don't even know where this came from. If I'm being so completely honest, I didn't buy this year. I had it last year already. I have no idea where she came from, but I'm excited to read her. And it's short. It's not too like 300-ish pages. It looks long because it's so small, but if it was like the size of like one of these other books, it would be probably almost like a novella even. But yeah, that is the first book, a cutesy little cozy mystery. I had a couple other cozy mysteries I was looking at maybe getting and then didn't, so that doesn't really matter. But yes, that is Death by Pumpkin Spice by Alex Erickson. So this next book is a series, and I don't know if I've mentioned it in a recent video, but I plan on attempting to do an entire reread for the first time as an adult of the Harry Potter series. I'm covering the name of the author because we don't like her. So I'm gonna say that Daniel Radcliffe wrote Harry Potter. So this is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're from. I personally think Philosopher's Stone was way cooler. I don't know why we changed it. Obviously, this is about Harry Potter, the boy who lived. He survived an attack from Voldemort when he was a child, and he eventually, you know, he's a wizard, we know this, and he gets invited to Hogwarts, and this follows him in his first year at Hogwarts while, you know, dealing with making new friends, making new enemies. I love you, Draco, but you're kind of a bitch. And essentially learning that he's a wizard and having to go from this life of living in a closet and being pretty much abused to being a infamous person in the wizarding world at only the age of 11. So my goal is to reread this entire series. I do want to start with at least the first book and annotate it. The first book / the first movie, they give super heavy fall vibes. If you haven't seen the first Harry Potter movie, there's literally like scenes set in like Halloween, and there's like floating pumpkins, and I don't know, like the whole vibe of the first Harry Potter movie is it just gives fall. And so I'm really excited. I haven't read these books as an adult ever. The last time I remembered reading these legitimately was like middle school, and of course, you know, by then all the movies had come out or were almost completely out, so I was like more on the movies. But I want to reread this for the first time as an adult, so that is the next book on my TBR/hopeful. I'm considering the whole series just like one general like section of this video, mainly because ideally the first book for sure, but the rest is like we will see. But yes, that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by Daniel Radcliffe. I wish it was written by Daniel Radcliffe. So again, much like Harry Potter, I'm lumping multiple books together, but realistically, will that happen? We don't know. But in the fall season, I would love to finish the A Good Girl's Guide series. The first book is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's by Holly Jackson. The show came out on BBC. It was actually like so good. They did leave some things out, which annoyed me a little. Some things were changed, annoyed me a little. I had to relive the Barney scene. That was painful, but I have not finished the series. I kind of know how it ends because it's after a while it's unavoidable. Like you're just gonna see the spoilers. But we have Good Girl Bad Blood, which is the second one, and then we have As Good as Dead. Good Girl Bad Blood follows Pip after, you know, the discovery. She's not a detective anymore, but her and Ravi, her little boyfriend. Ravi is so cute. The casting in the show for Ravi was just, he's cute. I love him. Little crush, not gonna lie. But in the second book, she has like a murder podcast where she like kind of talks about the case that they solved and like maybe like the more in-depth parts of it. But in the podcast, she's like insistent her investigatory days are over. She's done sleuthing. She's done with all of that. And then someone she knows goes missing and the police won't do anything because they didn't do anything in the first book. Why would they do anything in this one? And it's basically Pip deciding, guess it's time to start breaking into people's houses and investigating again. So that is what she does. And then the third one is just a continuation of that, and also of all of like both of these books having connections to the Annie Bell and Sal Singh case, which is, you know, where this whole thing started. And I really, really do want to finish the series, if nothing else, because I loved A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's probably one of my favorite books ever. And I feel like it's a crime that I have not finished the series. Next we have Butcher and Blackbird. This is called the Ruinous Love Trilogy. I believe this is between two serial killers. It's between Sloane and Rowan. They're rival murderers, and they find like this friendship forming between the two. And then I guess they go on this like cross-country road trip murdering people? Question mark? And they may or may not fall in love. I'm assuming it's almost like they're playing a game, maybe, together of like who can murder more people. This is considered a dark romance, so this is definitely a read at your own risk kind of thing. The first main page is literally filled with trigger warnings. Let me read you a few, just so you can get a general idea of what we're looking at here. Eyeballs and eye sockets, amateur surgery, skin ornaments, not so accidental cannibalism. Okay. Lobotomized manservant. If you don't know what a lobotomy is, it's where they take essentially like a drill and they drill it in your head. They did it a lot to women in the, I want to say 1800s and before, even early 1900s, 1920s. Really detailed sex scenes with some pretty intense kinks and so on and so forth. So it's got a lot of trigger warnings. This is a dark romance, and dark romances are not for everybody, so I would not recommend this unless you think that you can handle it. I know that I can, even if I don't like it, so I do plan on reading this. And I also have Leather and Lark, that if I am able to get to that as well, that would be cool. But the first one for sure is on the TBR. Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. That is the next book. So next, we're switching things up a little bit, getting a little different. We have Donna Tartt's The Secret History. This, if I haven't read this, but I've had a lot of people say it's really good. It gives dark academia vibes. It's kind of more of a like contemporary fiction, if I'm remembering correctly. Contemporary fiction. It is set at like this New England college. I'm assuming in the fall time. That's kind of what people have been mentioning. The back really doesn't give you much. It says, under the influence of a charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at a New England college discover a way of thought and life, a world away from their banal contemporaries. But their search for the transcendent leads them down a dangerous dangerous path beyond human constructs of morality, sorry, not mortality. So it is giving essentially like secret society maybe. It's set in like a New England college. You could assume maybe Yale. It's giving something I would have to focus. It's giving something I'm gonna have to put a lot of brain power into because it does seem more intellectual, and it's gonna use bigger words and almost akin to like classics or more literature where they use more complex sentences and oh my god. Anyways, back to what I was saying. This feels like a very intellectual read, which for some odd reason, as a teenager, as a 17-year-old, I would have eaten this shit up. As I've gotten older, I don't know if it's the chronic social media use or what, but my brain has turned to mush almost, and things like these are harder and harder for me to read. Things with more complex sentence structures and stuff like that. More intense intellectual storylines, so I'm worried that I won't be able to fully understand and work with the story in the way that I want to, but I'm hoping I can. My goal is also to annotate this one as well, so that is why it's on the list. Also, I'm kind of just obsessed with the cover. So for those of you that follow me on Goodreads, I don't know if I've mentioned this anywhere else, but Goodreads, I have been on an audiobook kick due to my like really bad reading slump. To get me to sit down and read is so incredibly difficult lately. It's not working. We're not working. But because of that, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, and that includes a lot of Frida McFadden. So here we have The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. She wrote The Housemaid and The Teacher. I've been listening to her less popular novels. The Housemaid I do want to physically read, so I've been listening to her audiobooks, and they're really good. I don't know what it is about like the narrator or what. They are so good. So I saw this in the store. It was buy one get one 50. I had a different book picked out, and it's not included in this video because it's not on the TBR. This was already on my list of listening to next. I just didn't have an Audible credit to use yet. So I went ahead and I picked it up. And this one is about Nora Davis. She's 11 years old, and her dad is a serial killer. He kills women in their basement. Not very slay of him, or is it? Pun intended. But decades later, Nora's dad is serving his time. She's like this doctor, and one of her patients gets murdered in a similar way that her dad was murdering people. So of course, the police are like, girl, you're sus. It could be you. And essentially the story follows Nora as she's trying to tell people and prove that she's not doing these unthinkable crimes and that she's not her father. But it ends the thing with the police can't pin anything on her as long as they don't look in her basement. Frida McFadden is extremely notorious for creating unreliable narrators. You think you know what they're gonna do and what they're gonna say and where their path is, and then you're like, wait, she could be lying. Can we trust her? Can we not? It's a little sus. So if you look at the context on the back, you're like, oh, she's the murderer. She's doing it.
That's what she said.
I feel like that's way too obvious. There's no way it's just her. Maybe she has a partner or something. Every Frida McFadden book I've listened to, I had guessed the ending, and I was completely wrong. The book is also the cover's just giving me Insidious, and I love Insidious. And I think that's partially why I picked this up. So much like the Harry Potter series, this is a series that I won't necessarily finish in the fall time, but I hope to at least start the first book in the series, and that is The Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Think Criminal Minds, but teenagers, right? So it is a YA series, if I'm remembering correctly. It's like YA investigatory thriller kind of vibe. It's about 17-year-old Cassie, and she's like really good at profiling and reading people, and this essentially follows her joining the FBI and becoming like a necessary person for the FBI to solve all these crimes. And then she's like put into this program called the Naturals program, which has a bunch of really smart, ambiguous, genius teenagers. And then the series follows the group of the Naturals from there. This one is said to be like a lethal game of cat and mouse with like a serial killer, and they're gonna have to use all of their gifts to survive, which is like profiling and things like that. I'm assuming what happens is they start working on a cold case. The person behind that cold case is like, no sir, you're gonna die. I've been told by like so many people that this is a series for me because this kind of stuff is what I loved reading in high school. I was very anti-romance. I was all about the thrillers that had a subplot of romance and that were kind of YA. I for some reason loved having teens investigate murders. I was like, I wish that was me. So I've been told this is the series for me, and I am very excited. Jennifer Lynn Barnes also did the Inheritance games. So if you're looking for a new series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, this is that series. And I don't know, the covers are just very intriguing. They're not the natural or the original covers. Natural. Whoa, hey, that wasn't intentional. The original covers didn't look exactly like this. If I can find a picture, I'll put it on the screen, but I love these covers and I do have the whole series. It's just one of those series that you look at it and you know you're gonna love it. Even if it's not like a 5-star, you know you're gonna love it, and that's gonna be this series. So I hope to at least start the series. I had tried starting it last year and I always get in a reading slump right before the fall, which is super obnoxious and annoying. So I'm hoping that with this, if I read it, it'll at least be a fast-paced fun read for me, but we'll see. Next, we are going back to romance, but also magical realism with The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, or Poston, I can't remember how you pronounce it. You might know her. She just released the novel Love Story. She also has The 7-Year Slip. She is very, very popular for magical realism romance type of books. So this one, the back kind of leaves you a little confused. She is a ghostwriter for really prolific romance authors in the industry, but she's gone through this horrid breakup, so romance is kind of like dead in her eyes. And her new editor, he's handsome, he's cute, but he's kind of a pain in the ass. And she's basically like, my career is gonna go down the toilet. But then she has a death in the family and she essentially has to go back to the home that she's run away from for like 10 years. At the funeral parlor, she sees this ghost at the front door and it says he's broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever. He's just as confused about where he is and why he is there as she is. And it says at the end, romance is certainly dead, but so is her new editor, and his unfinished business will have her second guessing everything she's ever known about love stories. So the implication is that she's gonna fall in love with her dead new editor. I'm very curious to see how this will play out because this is giving me the vibe of there's no way there's gonna be a happy ending unless she's dead as well. It's giving Tate and Violet from American Horror Story, and I don't know if I really vibe with that, but this does give very fall-esque vibes. Maybe not fall vibes, but maybe like Halloween kind of vibes. Perhaps. I'm very intrigued to see how Ashley Poston, I'll figure it out eventually. I'm very excited to see how she goes through this and how she writes the story, especially when it's like the character's technically dead, allegedly. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Because at the beginning of the synopsis, he's introduced as a living person and somehow he ends up at the funeral home in her hometown not long after her father dies. So it's very confusing just from the synopsis alone. But I've heard good things about this, so I'm excited to see how this gets played out. I don't know, I'm very excited. Also, I just loved the cover. The Raven was giving me Edgar Allan Poe for some reason. I don't know why, but I thought it was cute. So people clearly love this book because it is like a New York Times bestseller, and all of Ashley Poston's books have been super duper popular. So I'm very excited to see how this one pans out. So we're coming down to the wire here. We have the last couple books, and next is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. The name alone, sold. The cover, sold. The title, sold. And its tagline is, it's the season to fall in love. Most people would argue that's maybe Christmas. I disagree. Lori Gilmore has been blowing up recently with this book on TikTok. It's been circulating as like the fall read. It is about Jeannie and her aunt gifting her a pumpkin spice cafe in a small town called Dream Harbor. She jumps at the chance to own the cafe, to run it. And then it has Logan, who's a local farmer, but he kind of like avoids the gossip of the town. But when Jeannie arrives, it kind of disrupts Logan's routine. He wants nothing to do with her, but is of course inexplicably drawn to her. She's some sunshine, he's grumpy. Logan has found this city girl that he's trying not to fall in love with. Her or her pumpkin spice lattes. Even the back is cute, are you joking? I also did get the second book from this series. I'm gonna be honest, don't know a thing about it. It's also set in the fall time, I believe, and then the third book will be set at Christmas time, but I did buy the second one. I will pre-order the third one soon, but yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. This just gives cutesy fall vibes. It's clearly more of a like indie published situation, but people have been loving it. I believe I saw Sarah Caroli had read it recently. I just feel like you can't look at this and think anything other than fall for obvious reasons. And I'm very excited to read it. Honestly, having your last name be Gilmore and writing a fall romance book set in a small town with a grumpy guy and a sunshine girl, let's be honest, this is Lorelai Gilmore and Luke, right? I mean, like, it's Lorelai and Luke. Except this would be if Lorelai was the coffee shop owner and Luke wasn't. So next we have The Cafe Between Pumpkin and Pie. This actually is written by 3 separate authors, Marina Adair, Kat Angle, and Stacey Finns. I don't know any of them. I have heard nobody talk about this book. It was the only one of its kind on the shelf at Barnes & Noble, but I went in looking for The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, couldn't find it, ordered this on Amazon, but found this in the process, and I don't know, it's giving cutesy, and its tagline on the back says, "In Moonbright, Maine, there's a pumpkin on every porch, fresh brewed apple cider in every cup, and the sweetest sorcery in the air." So this one is a magical realism, romance, fiction kind of book. I'm gonna stick with magical realism as its initial genre, but it follows this town at Halloween time. What is more fall than Halloween? And it says, before, after, and even during the excitement of the annual Halloween parade, gathering at the Corner Cafe is a beloved Moonbright tradition. Costumed revelers of all kinds come for their famous whoopie pies, the heartfelt hospitality, and the chance to hear the town's spookiest stories and local legends whispered to the younger generation. The most magically romantic legend of all promises that a moonbright woman will marry the man she sees reflected in a mirror on Halloween. For 3 such singles, the crunch of fall leaves and the fragrance of fresh-baked pie sets the perfect stage for this most tantalizing trick and most delightful treat, the genuine enchantment of true love. So essentially, I'm going to assume each author is writing about each different woman who aren't named on the back, and they're falling in love with the guy they see reflected in the mirror. So again, magical realism. This book gives you so much in the synopsis and so little at the same time that I'm purely, truly, and utterly fascinated. I want to see how, I think that writing books where there's 3 different authors or more than one author, not including Christina Lauren, who kind of write together as like one like moniker. Being a book that has 3 different USA bestselling authors collaborating in one book, I fear leaves room for the writing to not mesh, for it to not flow properly. So that is one thing I'm a little concerned about, is that this book just won't flow the way the authors want it to, because there are 3 different authors writing about 3 different love stories in one book. It's giving Let It Snow, which I actually haven't read yet, but I have it on the back and I watched the movie. I wonder if it's gonna be kind of like where their stories are interconnected, or maybe this isn't magical realism, maybe it's just a double-sided mirror. Who knows? But I am a little concerned that it's not gonna fit like a little puzzle piece, that it's gonna be like shoving the wrong piece into a certain spot in the puzzle because of the fact that there are multiple different authors collaborating on this book. But the general idea is super duper cute. The cover is everything. We need more fall and Halloween romance books that aren't dark romance. And this is giving what I was hoping to find when I went in looking for a fall book. So I'm hoping that this will be good. So the next book I have was, again, one that I found while looking for the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I'm unfortunately realizing now that I got it a little damaged, which kinda sucks, but c'est la vie. That is Pumpkin Spice and Everything Nice by Katie. Girl, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I don't want to screw up your name. By Katie, not me. Somebody else. The tagline at the top is "Get ready to fall in love." It's short, it's sweet, it's cute. The cover and the back cover are kind of giving, and I normally hate cartoon covers, but this one's just so cute. I already love them and I know nothing about them. So let's learn about them, shall we? So this follows Lucy Kane, and she hates pumpkin spice lattes. Girl, same. I used to hate them myself. They grow on you. The back reads, Lucy Kane hates pumpkin spice lattes, which is a problem because A, Lucy lives in the quaint New England town of Briar Glen, where everyone loves all things autumn, and B, she's a barista at her mom's coffee shop, Cup of Joe. As the first fall leaves descend upon Briar Glen, Lucy and her mom gear up for a busy season. But then Java Junction, a multinational coffee chain, opens a store right across the street. They're rival coffee shops, of course. Home of the world-famous pumpkin spice latte. To make matters worse, it turns out Jack Harper, the new kid in school and Lucy's secret crush, is the son of the owners. Talk about mixing business with pleasure. If Cup of Joe wants to survive the competition from Java Junction, Lucy will have to set aside her feelings for the popular drink and Jack to make this the coziest pumpkin spiciest season ever. This feels like the epitome of fall. Even the outfits on the front, like clearly they're gonna be in fall time. I'm not gonna lie. If I didn't have a video to edit after this, I would start this right now because it's small, it's cute. I feel like I could read this in like one sitting. I kind of want to. It just looks so cute and it's so like fun. I don't know. I really want to read this. It's giving fall. This is probably one I'm gonna for sure read before the fall season ends. So this is my fall TBR. If you want to see me attempting to read any of these in a video, let me know. But yeah, I hope to read at least some of these this fall season, especially the ones that are specifically fall books. That would be really great if I could do that. We'll see. If any of these are on your fall TBR, comment down below, or if there's any books you think I should have included in my fall TBR, also comment down below. And if there are any fall books I should know about, I really think that fall romance books that are like cozy fall romance books are a totally undersaturated market. We have so many Christmas romance books. Give me more fall romance books, specifically fall. It doesn't even have to be Halloween. Just specifically fall romance books I think we need more of. Some that aren't dark romance, that aren't Halloween exactly, but maybe fall in general. I just need more of those. So if you have any that you know are really good or you think I'd like, let me know and comment below what kind of fall vibe type videos you want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I love you and I will see you in the next one. Bye everybody.